the LGBT, transgender, grooming our children's minds is a national security threat because it is ultimately designed to destabilize the republic.
This is Pastor Mark Burns. He also ran for office in South Carolina, I think. He lost, but he was retweeted by Trump recently. If you were curious, that video we just watched was him calling for the death penalty for LGBT people. We're going to watch the whole context behind that in a couple of minutes, but I want to show you what was retweeted by Donald Trump, which video of his was retweeted. And then I want to kind of give you an idea of who the guy is overall. And we'll take a look at that clip too. I don't want you guys to get discouraged here, though. I just want to say it feels hopeless sometimes. You know, these extremists doing all kinds of extremisty stuff. Before going any further, I just want to point out, yes, these people are very, very extreme, and they are in positions of power. But the more extreme they get, the less support they have. It's been proven time and time again through the numbers that the more extreme Republicans get, the fewer votes they get. Just 2022 midterms, they went extreme. They banned or they did away with Roe v. Wade, like months before the 2022 midterm elections. And look what happened. They lost, by and large. They lost seats in the Senate, and they got a very, very modest win in the House, like way more modest than they've gotten in 40 years or something. It feels hopeless sometimes. These people, it's really concerning seeing them rise to power and stuff. This is the dying gasp of an extremist movement. It won't last forever. They're going to eat themselves alive, and they're already losing, not just in polls, but in real elections, real situations, they're losing. So walking into this, I just want you guys to be aware that we can safely laugh it off. We need to take the threat seriously by voting, but it's mostly okay to just laugh at this stuff. So check this out. May 3rd, 2023, he makes an appearance on this TV show called Flashpoint. I talk about it a lot on my Unfiltered YouTube channel, Telltale Unfiltered. Donald Trump just did an interview on here. It's a TV show that's on the Victory Network, owned and operated by Kenneth Copeland. Anyway, let's listen to what Mark Burns had to say to Flashpoint, the Flashpoint audience. In this video, he's referring to the interview that they did with Donald Trump on this TV show just the other day.
He clearly is a man of the people, and I believe without a shadow of a doubt that the hand of God is upon his life. Gene, first of all, let me just say congratulations. You guys have just done a wonderful job.
You're talking about the interview with him.
And the president, I believe, I know without a shadow of a doubt, is very thankful. But right now, the people are speaking for Donald Trump, and I'm not here to campaign for him. He speaks.
Could have fooled me. Not here to campaign for him. Really? Okay.
He speaks for himself. But the reality of it is there are forces that are against him, and I believe it's because how he honors God and how he actually keeps his word.
Donald Trump, forces against him because how he honors God and keeps his word. Are we talking about the same guy? That doesn't describe Donald Trump like at all, like even a little bit. Is it just me? I see this guy as a pocket square man, though. That's honorable. I can appreciate it.
One of the few men who ever run for president who said, when I'm in the White House, Christians will have a friend again in the White House. And he's one of the few people that actually kept his word. Promises made, he kept his promise.
God, does he really think that Donald Trump keeps his promises to people, that he's like honest or whatever? What kind of fantasy land do these people live in? It's like not too long ago, I think it was like a year or two ago, Trump held a rally. I guess this was from late April 2022 is when this came out. So anyway, Trump held a rally, I think in Nebraska, and this guy comes out here. He's asked, what does he love the most about Trump? He says, honesty. His honesty. He loves his honesty.
Politics, just for a second. Yeah, sure. Best thing about Donald Trump is what?
His honesty with the people.
What? Seriously, are we talking about the same guy right now? What are you talking about? His honesty? That's the thing he is known best for violating. His honesty. This is literally all MAGA people do, is make up excuses for why he was dishonest. He has to be dishonest, you know. He has to lie. He has to cheat and manipulate things because the deep state's out to get him. I'm constantly hearing excuses like that. What do you mean his honesty?
I think he's just about the most straightforward president we've ever seen. So I
pretty much know where he stands on everything.
I feel like we all have a good understanding of where he leans, and where I think he supports the people, and I think that's the best part about it.
We cannot be talking about the same guy, right? We must be talking about somebody else.
That actually kept his word. Promises made, he kept his promise.
Absolutely unhinged from reality. They do not live in the same world as us. I'm telling you. My channel, as some people can probably tell, views are suffering, so I would appreciate it if you watch a video, watch from beginning to end. Don't turn it off in the middle. That is one of the factors that YouTube uses to determine how far a video is going to go, or if it's going to fall and die, basically. If regular viewers watch the entire thing, it gets a massive boost. So if you guys watch one of my videos, try to watch it from beginning to end. I would appreciate it. So anyways, that's Mark Burns. Now, something you need to know about Mark Burns. He's a QAnoner. He's an extremist. And I want to give you a little bit of background on the things that he views as most important. He's taken the battle against the LGBT community on as his own personal fight. He's been fighting this for years at this point. I have a slightly more recent clip here from him, late April 2023, but I also have clips all the way back from like 2021, 22, where he's talking about trans issues. That's like his pet project. So listen to what he has to say to this podcast thing. I think it's called, Talk TV? James Whale Unleashed? I don't know. Anyway, listen to this. Late April 2023. This is him diving into trans issues.
The transgender movement did not have an issue in America until they start going after the children in the public school systems, right?
Well, that's the thing. They don't. Never did. This is a fabrication in your own mind. Nobody is out here grooming children to be trans. That is unglued from reality, straight up. I don't know what else to call it. That is not in line with the reality that we all share. Okay, that's not happening. This is a propagandistic method of attacking the trans community, though. Come up with a pretext for attacking them and then come up with an absolutely obscene punishment for what, this perceived grievance that they have against them. They should be eliminated from society. Is that what Michael Knowles said a while back? I don't remember what it was. Yeah, here's Michael Knowles from the Daily Wire. The grievance: trans people are grooming children in school. Not true. But the solution?
There can be no middle way in dealing with transgenderism. It is all or nothing. If transgenderism is true, if men really can become women, then it's true for everybody of all ages. If transgenderism is false, as it is, if men really can't become women, as they cannot, then it's false for everybody too.
Like, I don't even know what any of that means.
And if it's false...
Like, this is all just nonsense that he's spouting. He's trying to construct something called a syllogism, a logical path that leads to a conclusion. It's just nonsense. It's like flawed premise after flawed premise. What do you mean if it's true for everyone? You saying you believe that everybody is trans? What? Like, the syllogism just falls apart, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
Then we should not indulge it, especially since that indulgence requires taking away the rights and customs of so many people. If it is false...
It involves taking away the rights and customs of so many people to allow other people to just be trans in their life, really? What customs are you taking from people by somebody else living their life as a trans person?
If it is false, then for the good of society, and especially for the good of the poor people who have fallen prey to this confusion, transgenderism must be eradicated from public life entirely.
Right, eradicated was the word I was looking for. It starts out with a complaint that trans people are trying to, they're stepping over a line. It starts out with a pretext. Tyrants will always find a pretext for their tyranny. They find a reason to be upset over some nonsense, over something that's not happening. And then they come up with a solution. The pretext? Trans people are grooming children in schools. Made up entirely. The solution? Eradicate them from public life. That's how this whole system works. Now, Michael Knowles, I guess, has chosen to say the quiet part out loud. But Mark Burns, the guy that's been retweeted by Donald Trump, is reinforcing the pretext for the solution that Michael Knowles has proposed. It's not just Michael Knowles proposing this, by the way, either. It's a ton of people. This is like a standard position in Republican circles. Eradicate transgenderism from society.
Children in the public school systems, right? And so this is why parents are waking up all over this nation. This is why Donald Trump's popularity is growing even more, because
No, I don't think Trump's popularity has grown. I think it's fallen dramatically, but okay.
Because he's putting the power back in the hands of the parents and taking it out of the hands of sleepy Joe Biden and the liberal government.
Can I ask you a very radical question?
Sure.
Do you know what a woman is?
Yeah, this is interesting. They're saying this. So this is a perfect example of what's called a dog whistle. Okay, so a dog whistle is a thought-terminating cliche or some kind of loaded language that hints at your political ideology or your political position. What is a woman, in all seriousness, is a very complex question if you really want a specific scientific answer. It's like asking, what is an apple, right? Well, you could say it's a fruit with a thin skin on the outside that's red. But there are green apples too, okay? Then it's a fruit of varying colors with a thin skin on the outside. Well, that could cover limes or lemons or oranges or any number of things. All right, well, it has a stem on the top. I mean, you can keep boiling this down, but when you're trying to define something very specifically, it gets really, really complicated. Now, generally, the definition that I use for woman is somebody that has characteristics that we've traditionally associated with the female sex in society, in our culture specifically. That's generally how I define it. That's pretty all-encompassing. And it's really not that complicated, honestly. But these people use this as some kind of a dog whistle to each other to make it out like liberals simply don't know how to define woman because they're so stupid and they can't figure it out and they have no idea what a woman is. Blah, blah, blah. No, I gave you a perfectly reasonable definition that I think everybody else would accept too. Everybody, even people on the right. So anyways, this is some kind of own against liberals, I guess.
Very radical question.
Sure.
Do you know what a woman is?
It's not a radical question, but okay.
I absolutely know what a woman is. A woman is a woman that can produce children. A woman...
He's using the word in the definition, okay? What is an orange? An orange is an orange that has blah, blah, blah. I love it, dude. Like I said, a woman is a person that presents characteristics traditionally associated with females in society. That's what a woman is.
A woman has two breasts. A woman has... She is
Okay, wow, we went there. I mean, I know plenty of trans people who have things like this, so I don't think this is the own that he thought it was.
She is biologically different from a man. Unfortunately, you have to even ask that question. Just shows you how crazy. And I know you've been rhetorical, but some people, they think that...
No, he didn't have to ask that question. That's the thing. This is an irrelevant question. This didn't need to come up, but okay.
They think that's a real radical question.
No, you genuinely want to...
No, I don't think it's a radical question. I think it's a dog whistle to a kind of virtue signal, right? The right wants to show how far right they are. They want to show how edgy they are. Ooh, I'm going to hurt some trans people today. Isn't that edgy? Look at me. That's basically what they're doing. Like, I don't care if you ask people if they know what a woman is. Like, go nuts. You think I'm getting, like, offended at this? Like, what? I mean, this guy didn't stop at the trans community, though. This guy seems to have, like, this deep-seated obsession with turning us into a theocratic fascist state. Listen to what he had to say. Mid-November 2021, he's running for office at this point, right? He's campaigning, trying to win his election. Comes out here on the water cooler with David Brody. It's a really far-right TV show. And he says this.
I'm excited about the growing movement, especially here in the 4th District of South Carolina, of people who are identifying themselves as just Christian conservatives, right? We got to take it back to the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I believe the people here in the 4th District of South Carolina are getting that. It's not just about being Republicans. It's about being a conservative Christian who believes this is a Christian nation.
So it's not good enough to be a conservative. It's not good enough to be Republican. You have to be a Bible-believing Republican who intends to impose your religious beliefs upon the people around you.
Any policy that is contrary to the word of God, we need to remove it from mainstream America and make it illegal.
Wow, that's a tall one right there. You want to remove any law that contradicts the Bible. Okay, well, you're going to have to start with the First Amendment because it contradicts the First Commandment. The First Commandment, thou shalt have no other gods before me. The First Amendment says you can worship any way you please. You don't have to worship Yahweh, the God of whatever. It sounds to me like they're going to have to start with the First Amendment. But you know what? None of that connects with them. All they care about is turning this into a theocratic, fascist, extremist state. That's it. If you think that's bad, listen to this one, early April 2022.
You see that Antifa flag, go knock out their window. That's my thought. Forgive me, Lord. Forgive me, Jesus, Lord.
Dude's literally calling for violence right now. You see somebody that has an Antifa flag, knock out their window. I mean, I denounce violence at every turn, no matter what. Violence is wrong. It's not the solution. You shouldn't do it. These people embrace it. Mark Burns embraces it. This is the guy that was retweeted by Donald Trump.
Forgive me. I'm asking for forgiveness right now. I'm asking for forgiveness
It was just a thought. It was just a thought.
But I'm saying the Bible says that the kingdom suffers violence and
yes.
the violence take it by force.
By force.
The problem is we're being too coward and too weak, and we think that man has authority over us when we serve a big God that's given us power and authority.
Yeah.
Wow, so he's saying people think man has authority over them when their authority comes from God. So he doesn't need to listen to the government. He needs to listen to God and God alone. And God is telling him to knock out Antifa people's windows. So that's what he's going to do. Am I reading this right?
Authority to tread over every demonic spirit. But so if they're going to knock out a window, you're going to knock out two of theirs.
That's what Jesus said, go buy 2 swords.
Come on.
Okay, I don't remember Jesus saying something about buying 2 swords.
Come on, brother. Come on, man.
Go buy 2 swords.
So listen, Oregon, y'all better go buy some swords in the name of Jesus, right? Go start knocking out some windows.
Just wrong, man. Wrong on every level. Like I said, I denounce and call out violence at every turn. I don't stand for violence. I'm a complete pacifist. I don't believe in violence under any circumstances, except for self-defense. And even then, if you can avoid violence at any cost, you should. These people seem to be in favor of violence. So at the beginning of this video, I was talking about Mark Burns. I was talking about the guy's position on LGBT issues, and I played a short clip from this, right? This is from early June 2022. He took some heat for this video. I want to show it to you. I covered it back when it happened, but it's been a while, so let's talk about this. Listen to what he has to say about the LGBT community here.
The LGBT, transgender, grooming our children's minds is a national security threat because it is ultimately designed to destabilize the republic.
Wow, so he thinks that gay people are setting out to destabilize America. He thinks that they're committing treason against the U.S. government and intentionally trying to turn other people gay so that America falls apart. Really? Okay. Go on.
We call the United States of America. That's why when I'm elected, I don't want to just vote. I want to start holding people accountable for treason to the Constitution.
So he wants to charge people that are LGBT with treason against the U.S. government. Treason. If you're gay, you should be charged with treason. And what's the sentence for committing treason? This is what I like to call the genocide pipeline. His answer for treason is the death penalty. So he's created a little loop where he can commit legal genocide. Define anybody that's gay or trans or anything at all as traitors to the U.S. government, and sentence them to death, thus creating a legal loop of genocide. That is actually how it happens in some cases. It's how it's happened historically in some countries. He's describing a process that's played out through centuries in different areas of the world. Not just for gay people, in fact, not even for gay people necessarily, but for all kinds of different groups of people. You know, the Jews are doing this or causing problems for these people or that or whatever. So we're going to charge them with the crime of blah. And then we're going to make the sentence for blah the death sentence, thus creating a pipeline. Okay, so he says people who are gay are traitors to the U.S. government, right?
To the Constitution. I am going to push to reenact HUAC. HUAC is the House of Un-American Activities Committee.
That committee was McCarthyism. If you don't know of McCarthyism, it's basically where you could accuse anybody of being a communist. You accuse your neighbor of being a communist and they're charged with a crime or they're like thrown in jail or whatever. It was insane. Insane. It was a witch hunt is what it was. It was an anti-communist witch hunt. And he wants to institute this for gay people. You suspect somebody of being gay, you don't like your neighbor, accuse him of being gay. The HUAC, the House of Un-American Activities Committee, will send police officers to his house to pick him up, interrogate him, and throw him in jail. That's what he wants to do.
American Activities Committee. It was a real committee that was formulated back in the 50s, and it's a committee that we should reenact that starts holding these people accountable for treason. Lindsey Graham should be held accountable for treason for supporting Joe Biden's gun-grabbing Second Amendment law that he's trying to push forward. Lindsey Graham, my opponent's mentor, just stated that I am supporting all initiatives that Joe Biden has put forward with gun control, and he is pushing for others, Democrats, to push it to a vote. Mitch McConnell just stated to urge other Republican senators to support Lindsey Graham to come after our guns, to confiscate our guns.
So he started out by saying, if you are gay or trans, you are committing treason against the U.S. government. And if you want any kind of gun reform or control of any sort, universal background checks even, absolutely anything at all, you're guilty of treason also, right?
That should be held for treason, not just be voting people. No, we need to hold people for treason, start having some public hearings, and start executing people who are found guilty for their treasonous acts against the Constitution of the United States of America, just like they did back in 1776.
So, yeah, this is Lauren Witzke on the left. She's got problems, dude. I've covered her. That's beside the point. So he just described a genocide pipeline. That's what he wants for anybody who is gay or trans or whatever, and anybody who wants any kind of gun reform whatsoever. Basically, anybody to the left of hunting the homeless for sport. They should be charged with treason and executed. That's who Donald Trump retweeted. Mark Burns. That's who he is. That's what he believes. That's what he wants. I mean, I don't know how to make it clearer. Like, this guy is absolutely monstrous. He has absolutely monstrous positions. Truly disturbing stuff. Truly disgusting positions on this stuff. I mean, these are the people that Trump panders to. This is who he wants to promote him, to talk about him. He is a far-right extremist himself. Trump is. And he wants the far right to talk about and like him as much as possible. Well, Mark Burns likes him an awful lot. And Trump is promoting Mark Burns' ideas to the rest of society in response. Disgusting, man. Let me know what you think about it in the comments.